Okay, full text work for me, and so like I was saying, but unfortunately have get to hear me tonight to the great God you all get benefit from. So we're going through this course with January. We have been given a verse to discuss. And so the verse that we are discussing today is so be of the same mind towards one another. Do not set your mind on high things. Do not be wise in your own thinking. And the part of this that we really want to is that do not be wise in your own thinking. And when St. was discussing this with the Romans, the Romans were very knowledgeable philosophers. They prided themselves on how much they knew, how much better they were than everyone else. And so St. Paul's sending them a message here today. Do not be wise in your own opinion. So I thought we're going through the Bible, and I really struggled to find what wisdom was. If I could put it in a few words, I actually really struggled to define what wisdom was, and I'm hoping that the grace of God, you guys like this will be able to find things. So St. Paul talks in Corinthians about wisdom. He says, where is the wise? Where is the scribe? Where is the disputer of the same? Has not God made foolishness the wisdom of this world? For since in the world of God, the world through wisdom did not know God. Yet he is God through the foolishness of the message preached to save those who believe. The Jews request a sign, and the Greeks seek after wisdom. We preach Christ crucified to the Jews, a stumbling block, and to the Greeks foolishness. But to those who are called both Jews and Greeks, Christ, the power of God, the wisdom of God, because the foolishness of God is wiser than men, and the weakness of God is stronger than men. So, putting yourself back in the scenario of these times, the two, knowledgeable entities or people at the time were the Greeks and the Jews. And they're expected to know everything. You have a religious question, the Jews will not. You have a philosophical question, the Greeks will not. And so if you wanted an answer, they're the people you go to at the time. And the St. Paul's talking here, and he says something very strange, where he says, this wisdom of God, this wisdom for salvation, this wisdom for us to be restored, for us to no longer be corrupt, it's something that the Jews couldn't understand. The people that spent their life studying the scripture, they couldn't understand it. It's something that the Greeks, people that spent ages like about life and about everything, they couldn't understand it. The Jews went to the story of salvation and said, no, we need a sign. We need a sign. The Greeks came into it and they said, no, we need wisdom. And then Christ, someone that neither of them expected, someone that was crucified, someone that took the punishment of a criminal. And all of a sudden, they stumbled. They couldn't understand it. The Greeks thought this is the absolute, like, the most foolish act that could have happened. The Greeks thought there's no way the person that's meant to destroy us, the person that's meant to save the Jews, was just crucified. But what St. Paul says here, says it all. The foolishness of God is wiser than man. And so there's this clear distinction that St. Paul is trying to illustrate here. There's this clear distinction level between God and man. And it's something that can't be bridged. This wisdom of God couldn't be understood by man. And because they come from two very different places. In James, he's talking about wisdom. He says, who is wise and understanding among you? Let him show by good conduct that his works are done. In the meekness, if you have bitter envy and self-seeking in your heart, do not boast and lie against the truth. This wisdom does not descend from above, but is earthly, sensual, and demonic. For where envy and self-seeking exist, confusion and every evil thing are there. If you have bitter envy and self-seeking, if you're looking after yourself, if you're searching for your own best interest, if you're searching for, how can I be better? How can I be the best? If you're endeavoring only to look after yourself, then this isn't wisdom. It doesn't descend from above. It's sensual. Because where envy and self-seeking exist, confusion and every evil thing are there. That's man. That's how the Greeks tried to understand things. That was their perception of wisdom. But then when we go on further, to discuss what the godly wisdom is. But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, willing to yield, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality, and without pure, peaceable, it's gentle, willing to yield mercy and good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy. It's pure. There's no chance for God's wisdom to ever be corrupt. There's no chance for God's wisdom to ever have a distinction or to ever contain any hint of sin or any hint of evil. It's not possible. Whenever I speak to a Canadian, we have things that come here, so one of the things they hate most is our maple syrup. Okay? It's their absolute least favorite thing. They're like, I don't know how you guys eat pancakes or waffles with the maple syrup you guys have to right? Why? Because the maple leaf comes from heaven. They get it straight from the source. They get the pure maple syrup. And so when they come here and they try it, they know in their mind, because they've tasted it, there's nothing that they could ever have in Australia that would be able to subsidize or to replace that pureness they have. And it's the same thing. Wisdom's been constructed by man. Wisdom's been constructed as something you gain. It's knowledge that you keep building, experience that you keep building. That's not pure. That's able to be corrupted. That's able to be infiltrated. And so wisdom from above is pure. It's feasible. If everyone's out there self-seeking their own interests, if everyone's out there looking after themselves, like what they said in James, there'll be confusion. There'll be division. Everyone will be looking after their own interests, and no one will be looking after each other. Yet the wisdom of God always looks after unity. It always looks after peace. It always looks for God's people to be gathered together in harmony. That's the wisdom from above. It's gentle. The wisdom of men doesn't care who they step together along their way. It doesn't care who they look at. In the passage of Romans that we're focusing on, it's all about, don't look at the poor person with disregard. Don't look at these people below you like they're nothing. But be humble. It's this wisdom that allowed Christ to look on adulterers, to look on sinners, to look on Pharisees, no matter who, and show them love. He was gentle, willing to yield. It's something that men's wisdom can never manage, because everyone's out looking for themselves to achieve. Their eyes can't possibly look at something greater than they are, because they're looking so much on how much they can be better. God's wisdom manifests itself on the cross. God's wisdom manifests itself on a man who looks at himself so lowly that he was willing to humble himself so that we can be saved, that we can receive salvation. He doesn't pride himself. He doesn't look for anything he doesn't seek me to be strengthened, but is seeking God's work to be. And in that, all these things you know about, love, joy, peace, that's what it is to do. It's full of mercy. Who would have thought that a God, there's no one like God that's been created by any other religion that has this attribute so much, that looks upon adulterers and sinners, that's nailed to a cross and says, Father, forgive them for they do not know what they do. What other God would be nailed to a cross and say, Father, forgive me? But the wisdom of God doesn't look at correction. It looks at us with mercy. It looks at us with compassion. The wisdom of God produces. It gives back. The wisdom of God manifests fruits, which is something that which the world can't do, because we're only seeking to take. And lastly, the wisdom of God is about partiality and focus. You're not going to get a distinction with God. You're not going to get one day God's like this and one day God's like that. God is unchanging. Who God is will never change. And therefore, his wisdom will never change. It will never go against his word. It will never go against who he is. And so, the wisdom of man can never possibly reach the wisdom of God. Because while man is so self-seeking, is so eager to look after itself, the wisdom of God says, this is me. I am love. I am gentleness. I am mercy. I am humble. I will produce good fruits. And I will never show partiality. And the fruits of righteousness is sown in peace by those who make peace. That's how the passage in James finishes. The fruits of righteousness sown in peace by those who make peace. The wisdom of God working in us allows us to sow that same peace. It allows us to produce the same miracles from God. It allows us to be partaken in things unimaginable. It allows us to be partaken, to be part of all of these things
It allows us to create peace in the world. It allows us to be gentle. It allows us to be merciful. We get to be Christ in the world. We get to perform miracles every single day because we become like Christ when we obtain His wisdom. And so the question, I guess, we ask, okay, great. This wisdom of God sounds amazing. This wisdom of God sounds incredible. I want to be able to do all those things. I want to create peace. I want to be gentle. I want to be full of mercy. I don't want to self-think anymore. Because the only thing that does is hate. No one lives in that scenario. We just create division and confusion and evil. I don't want to be part of that. I want the wisdom of God. So the question stands, how do we gain the wisdom of God? Now, the two people in particular, one of them, and the other one, who's known for was Solomon. Okay? And there's two really crucial lessons that we learn. First one, the fear of God leading to dangerous. In Proverbs, with my Solomon, the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. It's a very paradoxical thing, like, oh, the fear of God. Well, when you hear that, it's like, well, how can that be sustainable? I'm so scared of God all the time. But what Solomon and King Mary felt so clearly when they said the fear of God was, he is not being wisdom. He is the thought that the love of my life would possibly be upset with me. He is the thought that could have possibly disappointed the one who I hold dearest in my life. And when you have that fear of God, every single thing in your life suddenly becomes thankful. Because He is so much that God would avenge me and He showed me mercy. He is so much that I would disappoint Him, yet He strengthened me. And so when you have that, it's the beginning of getting wisdom. You start seeing God everywhere. When you start seeing God everywhere, you become so thankful, then you start knowing who He is and knowing His wisdom. And so Daniel Christopher says, the man who was sold at last wisdom always gives thanks to God. If you have suffered evil, give thanks, and it is changed to good. He has not sinned who suffered the evil, but he who has done the evil gives thanks even to the thief. Lack of possessions or false accusations. It is not we who are injured, but those who are the authors of them. The one who loves wisdom will always be giving thanks, because they can always see the presence of God. They can always see the joy of God. When you see the situation of this, probably one of St. Mary's most famous passages, Magnificat. And it's the joyful praise of St. Mary. And she says, my soul magnifies the Lord, and my spirit has rejoiced in God my Saviour. For He has regarded the lowly state of His maidservant. For behold, henceforth all generations will call me blessed. For He who is mighty has done great things for me, and holy is His name, and His mercy is on those who fear Him, generation to generation. He has shown strength in His arm. He has scattered the proud in the imagination of their hearts. He has put down the mighty from their thrones, and exalted the lowly. He has filled the hungry with good things, and the rich He has sent away. He has helped His servants Israel in remembrance of His holy fathers. And it goes on and on. Thanks, glory. My soul magnifies the Lord. I'm rejoicing. I'm so thankful for everything He has done. Even though it may sound like I'm doing a lot of the work. St. Mary came into the situation saying, I can't believe how wonderful things God has done. I can't help but rejoice. I can't help but glorify His name sake, because He's regarded the lowly state of His maidservant. I thought I was just another person, but He saw me, and He thought of something greater than me. I am nothing, but He has made me everything. And so St. Mary had this huge fear of God that the sort of, like that any kindness God showed her was overjoying for her. The first step to getting wisdom is in the fear of God leading to repentance. I'm terrified of the fact that I'm not with God. I'm terrified of the fact that I'm not joined with Him, that I'm disappointed. And so when every single thing that God has provided me, when God has never left my side, I can't help but be thankful. I can't help but magnify the Lord. The other one is request with humility. The Greeks always thought of, they always thought of wisdom as something to acquire. They always thought of something as wisdom as something I can gain. The more knowledge I gain, the more wise I'll be. And so if I keep acquiring, I'll become wiser and wiser and wiser. That doesn't work, because if wisdom's from above, then from the wisdom of man makes me wiser. And so James 1:5 says, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God who gives you all liberally. Without reproach, it will be given to him. Ask. That's simple. When the whole situation was stolen, God appeared to him in a dream. He said, I'll give you anything you want. You say it, I'll give it to you. And so with humility, someone says, now, O Lord my God, you have made your servant king of my father David, for I am a little child. I do not know how to go out or come in. And your servant is in the midst of your people who you have chosen, with great people too numerous to be numbered or counted. Therefore, give to your servant an understanding heart to judge the people, that I may discern between good and evil. Who is able to judge this great people? You know, Solomon asked something very interesting here, where if you want wisdom, you would say, you think it's in the mind, knowledge. Say, give me a mind of wisdom. What Solomon asked for is a heart. He asked for God's love. He asked for God to transform his heart so that when people experience him, they could taste God. Solomon knew that if he needed wisdom, it couldn't come from acquiring knowledge. It could only come from the Lord giving it to him when he humbled himself before him. He knew that he could not possibly do anything without him. Saint Mary is very special because she doesn't say much, but it's in the little that she says that you can see who she is as a person. When Archangel Gabriel told her the good news, she said, behold the maidservant of the Lord, let it be to me according to your word. And the angel departed from her. Let it be according to your word. That's a person who has lived their life requesting and humility. I can imagine St. Mary in the temple. And she said, let it be according to your wisdom. Imagine St. Mary being old enough she has to leave the temple. She said, be according to your wisdom. And so every stage in her life, St. Mary knew that the only way she'd get by in life, the only way she'd function in life, is by saying that same thing. Let it be according to your word. Let it be according to your wisdom. And in that request with humility, she was able to be glorified. And God responds. God always responds to his request. He responded to Solomon. And God said to him, because you have asked this thing, you have not asked long life for yourself, nor have asked riches for yourselves, nor have asked the life of your enemies, but have asked for yourself understanding to discern justice. You haven't asked anything self-seeking. You haven't asked yourself to be lifted up. You haven't asked yourself to be the greatest king that's ever existed. Behold, I have done according to your word. See, I have given you a wise and understanding heart. so that there has not been anyone like you before you, nor shall any like you arise after you. And I have also given you what you have not asked, both riches and honor. So not only has he given you wisdom, but God is saying, I'll give you everything else instead. So that there shall not be anyone like you among the kings of all your days. So if you walk in my ways, keep my statutes and my commandments as your father days walk, then I will lengthen your days. Ask, God will always respond. Request, God will always give. Promise. If God's wisdom is impartial, if God's wisdom is not hypocritical, then if God says, ask and you will receive, and ask and you will receive. And Solomon's reaction, and Solomon awoke, and indeed it had been a dream. And he came to Jerusalem, stood before the ark of the Lord, offered up burnt offerings, offered peace offerings, and made a feast for all his servants. His first reaction was going back to God. It's a way of life. It's a way of life of thankfulness, of giving. It's a way of life of humility for them. And so, wisdom is something beautiful. Wisdom is something unattainable in the world, except through God. Wisdom causes people, gives peace. Wisdom gives mercy. Wisdom gives gentleness. And if you're not tempted already to seek wisdom, I'll finish this talk from the words of Solomon, the wisest man that ever lived. And when Solomon talks about wisdom, he doesn't talk about it as an object or an imaginary thing. Solomon talks about wisdom as someone who's in love. Solomon talks about wisdom as someone who's a real person. He can't possibly imagine living without. Hear my children the instructions of the Father, and give attention to no understanding. For I have given you good doctrine. Do not forsake my law when I was my father's son, tender and the only one in the sight of my mother. He also taught me and said to me, let your heart retain my words, keep my commandments and live. Get wisdom, get understanding. Do not forget and turn away from the words of my mouth. Do not forsake her, and she will preserve you. Love her, and she will keep you. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom, and all you're getting, get understanding. Exalt her, and she will promote you. She will bring you honor. When you embrace her, she will place on your head an ornament of grace. A crown of glory she will deliver to you. Hear my son, and receive my sayings, and the years of your life will be many. I have taught you the ways of wisdom. I have led you in the right paths. When you walk, your steps will not be hindered, and when you run, you will not stumble. Take firm hold of instruction. Do not let go. Keep her, she is your life. This is a man who spent his life tasting the joys of it. A man who spent his life experiencing how beautiful wisdom is. And he found that wisdom preserved him, wisdom kept him, promoted him, it brought him honor. It placed on his head an ornament of grace, a crown of glory. It delivered him. It extended his years. Death whenever he never stumbled. And so if you want to take the testimony of anyone with wisdom, you would take it from Solomon who experienced all these things. He spoke about wisdom as if it was the love of his life, as if it was his greatest protector, as if it was one that preserved him. And so with that, like Solomon said, go out, get wisdom, and get understanding. Please, send this passage more times. Don't forget this. Please listen to the glory to God. Any questions? and cause and bless the Lord, amen. Thank you, Lord, for allowing us to be patient. Lord, for the gift you give. Joy you constantly offer in our lives. Thank you for giving us the blessing. Mother Saint Mary, Lord, as an example, Lord, as an intercessor, Lord, someone who takes care of us, checks us. Lord, we ask you just as Saint Mary, experience the joy of your wisdom, the beauty of your wisdom, the peace of your wisdom, the mercy of your wisdom. She experienced all the greatness of your wisdom. We ask you, Lord, that we seek it and we run to it. And then all we have to do is request it. All we have to do is offer words, asking for this simple gift you've given us, gift of grace, gift to change our hearts. And in it, we'll witness every piece of beauty around you. We'll witness and be partakers of your miracles. And our mouth cannot cease to give thanks. We ask you, Lord, to always dwell in our hearts and dwell in our minds, that we be constantly reminded of your joy and your blessings. And that we fear you, not that you punish us, but that you hurt us, but that you could possibly leave us for a second, and that you could possibly punish you. We ask this in His name and through the intercessions of your beloved Mother Saint Mary, through the intercessions of all your saints, our Father who art in heaven, be thy name, amen. Jesus, our daily bread, Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
Yes.